Hey, welcome. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the OpenShift TV Coffee Break special edition today because we have our fantastic guest directly from Valencia for joining, celebrating KubeCon Europe 22. So I'm here with my friend and co-host Jafar. Good morning, Jafar.
Good morning,
And
everyone.
good morning. And our special guests are Christian Hernandez and Andrew Block. I'll let you present yourself. Hello.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm actually drinking coffee myself. I was telling Natalie that in Europe, you guys have really good espresso machines in your hotel rooms. That is nothing like the U.S. The U.S. has crap coffee in the rooms, so I like the fact that I can get an espresso right out of bed.
Good one. And I'm totally with you here. The coffee looks a little bit better than the regular then. And
Yeah,
I would like also to introduce Andrew, which is walking through the venue because Christian and Andrew are at KubeCon Valencia. So Christian, I guess you are in the hotel, but Andrew is going to the venue. So it's a live streaming in the place.
Yeah, man on the street.
We're out with the man on the street. Good morning, everyone. So just trying to get into the venue here at KubeCon EU in Valencia, Spain.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's a line
yeah.
already.
Man, those buildings, it looks like San Diego. Wow. I mean, so today, folks, it's really free format because we just want to celebrate some of the very good stuff that happened in KubeCon Valencia, which is starting today, by the way, in 1 hour. That's why we anticipated 1 hour the show. But also, Christian, there was a very, very, very interesting and very well done co-located event, which is the GitOpsCon. Can you tell us about what happened there?
Yeah, so GitOpsCon was it was a labor of love this time around. The first GitOpsCon, so a little history. We have Open GitOps is a CNCF sandbox project that's run by the GitOps working group. That's made up of like all the big GitOps players, right? So CodeFresh is there. Red Hat obviously is hugely involved. Weaveworks as well, among other companies, interesting parties. One of the things that we talked about is and thank you, Natalia, for dropping the link there. One of the things we did was the GitOps principles, right? So the first GitOpsCon we did was virtual, right? And we just it was like, hey, we're here, sort of GitOpsCon sort of thing, and it was virtual, right? And then so when we did GitOpsCon in Los Angeles in person, it was first in-person KubeCon, so it was a little weird. It was our first in-person GitOpsCon, but we really wanted to do a for Los Angeles, we wanted to do the GitOps principles, right? And so by now, if you haven't, go visit opengitops.dev, get familiar with the principles there. But that's it's been widely popular. This time around in Valencia, I really wanted it to grow. I'm part of the program committee, with others, right? Along with the co-chairs, Dan Garfield from CodeFresh, Chris Short, right, who used to be Red Hatter, but now it's at AWS, and Scott Rigby, who is from Weaveworks. The co-chairs, I worked with the co-chairs to try to make this as big as possible. And so then we had about 60 people at in LA. We had over 200, right? I'll get the official numbers later, but from the eyeballing it, we had 200 people come to GitOpsCon. We had 2 tracks, so we had 2 rooms, right? So if you guys haven't seen the tweets, right, follow me on Twitter. My handle's that, and you'll see me retweeting a lot of the pictures there. Where we had 2 tracks. We had people from not only just like the core members of like Red Hat presenting, CodeFresh and Weaveworks, but we also had end users. We had Google there. We had Dynatrace there talking about their open source contributions. And I felt a little bad because this is the first time around we actually had swag to give away. So we had t-shirts, Open GitOps t-shirts that were widely popular. So thanks to obviously Red Hat, who was able to create those for us. and I had a line, just like a huge line at the Red Hat booth at GitOpsCon, and they went like within like the first few minutes, and I felt bad because I wasn't sure how many to bring. I didn't bring enough, so in Detroit, I'll make sure I bring more swag this time. But it was great. Andrew, I don't know if you've from an attendee point of view, right? Andrew was an attendee there and a speaker there. He did a great presentation. I don't know what your takeaway was from GitOpsCon.
For me, honestly, it was amazing. There were so many people. I know you were blown away by the numbers. The group was awesome. Obviously, first days are always hard because today is the first official day of KubeCon, and getting people to take an extra 2 days or 1 day, depending on how they have it, is hard. And the crowd was amazing. We had some great presenters. Everyone on the committee just did an amazing job.
Yeah, it was. I was blown away, just like really blown away by how many people actually attended. I was joking. I think Andrew, I think you were there. I was joking. I was like, when you put an event in the United States, depending on where you are, you can get like 30 to 50% drop off, right? Depending on where you are. The Europeans, man, they show up. Like when you put an event, they they told us that we had 300 people at capacity, and we're almost at capacity. So like 250 people registered, and about that much showed up. So that's always great.
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons. So first, good job, guys, with your attendance or presentations. I saw that, and also the job that you've done, guys, to take this from like an initial project or an early days initiative to something that has really become more mainstream, and so like having its own thing, the GitOpsCon now. It's really amazing to see how far this topic has gone in only a few years. So I think in only two. So what? So is it like the second edition or third or?
Well, it's the second live one. So it's
Second live one.
it's technically the third one because the first one we did was virtual, but it was very
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
just
it's early.
very fast. We did it. Yeah, exactly. It was very easy, but we did. This is our second in-person one.
Yeah, cool. So congrats, guys. And I think one of the reasons maybe there's a higher participation is since this is in another country. Once people commit to traveling, so in the US, it's okay if they don't, travel within the same country. Maybe it's easier to cancel stuff, etc. Whereas here, like it's a true commitment. They are traveling to a different country, etc. So, so they are like, oh, I'm going there definitely.
Yeah,
I know when it comes to like airlines and hotels, a lot of the U.S. have relaxed a lot of those cancellation fees. So we're like, I guess I won't go. But yeah, it's great to see the attendance here.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, how tell us about like the big players that you see there. So obviously, I guess there's a lot of talk about not this guy, but I'm trying to point the right point. This guy.
yeah.
But are there any new players, new projects, things we should know about? Or
So I saw, and I've had the Dynatrace guys on my stream before, but I saw Dynatrace being a bigger, not a bigger player, but starting to come up with their, they have an open source project called Captain. Not sure how it's spelled here. Let me try to spell it.
okay.
And I'll drop it in the chat so you guys can try to Google it. But they have a project called Captain, and what Captain does is they're not actually like a GitOps controller. And I saw that we saw Andy drop. He's on mobile, so that makes sense. But the Captain is a SLO driven deployments, right? So they don't actually technically do GitOps.
Oh, Captain. Okay.
Yeah, they don't
KUPTN.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's they dropped it in the chat there.
Okay.
And they do SLO and SLI driven deployments. So they don't actually directly do GitOps, but they plug into things like Argo CD and Weaveworks.
Okay.
WeWorks Flux, right? So they do Argo City and Flux, or whatever, right? Like whatever, you plug into whatever they need to plug into. But they do SLO and SLI driven deployments, right? So like, unless your deployments pass a certain criteria, they're not going to get promoted into production. Also, if they don't meet certain metrics, they'll roll back your version. And so, and this is a project, again, started by Dynatrace. They did a presentation at GitOpsCon, which was really, really great. So I'm trying to, this morning I was trying to find to see if they put the videos up yet. They haven't put it up yet. I'll share those on Twitter later. But they did a great presentation about how, and this is indicative of how like people are also just like looking outside of the Kubernetes ecosystem, and trying to see like what else can we do and apply the principles to. There was a presentation about like Terraform, right? Which like Terraform itself doesn't do GitOps, but you're going to use it as part of your GitOps, your automation workflow, right? Like, and I did a presentation and I talked about like Stack Rocks, right? Like, and open cluster management, right? So like ACM and ACS, about how like you need to bring some of the stuff outside of just plain Kubernetes, right? Like you don't just, some of the things that I saw was really cool about the fact that people are looking, right? Like they're looking at Kubernetes and then looking outside of Kubernetes, like, well, how can we do these things? These cool automation things outside of just Kubernetes, right? Outside, we have other things in our environment that, that we want to be able to, apply some of these principles to. So those are, those are kind of the things I've seen. And also how young it still is, right? It's fast moving, right? Open GitOps, the GitOps thing is fast moving, and there's still a lot of things that we need to solve. Like Andrew's presentation about like managing secrets there. We're still kind of arguing about, when I say argue, I don't mean like in the mean sense, right? Like I mean, we're just like more in the discussion sense, right? Like we're still trying to figure out like, how do we manage secrets? That those discussions are still happening because it's still, to do it effectively in an automated way is a challenge, right? I don't know if Andrew, if you have any other thoughts about what you saw, or about the secrets in general.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the second time that I've spoken at GitOpsCon around secret management and just keeping things secure. And what I've seen is that the tools are starting to evolve. Not only are they starting to harden, get more features, but they're starting to actually reduce the number of tools that people are using. You kind of throw some things on the dartboard and some things will stick, some things won't stick. Some things are finally starting to stick, and now we're getting some patterns that make the most sense.
Yeah. So
Nice. Yes.
And Andrew, folks, I would like to remind that Andrew is also author of a book talking about secrets. The author is Manning, so I think is it's a good spot on talking about secret and GitOps. That was interesting, Christian. I think what you said, it's very also interesting. Like how do you join infrastructure as a code like Terraform or ACM? Sorry. With GitOps. That is one of the hot topic, and the other hot topic, of course, is secrets. So I'm glad you had the opportunity to talk about it with the community at the GitOpsCon.
Yeah. So another question I would have. So yeah, secrets management is definitely a very hot topic, and thank you guys for making it a bit clearer, because I remember that was one of the like early questions. Okay, if we need to store everything in a Git repo, then how are we going to store like confidential data or secrets, etc.? So one of the questions I have is, so when you saw people doing GitOps, are this, so of course everybody has been relying on CI/CD for the last years. When they switch to GitOps, how do they sort of combine the two approaches? So let me give a very specific example, and then you guys tell me what you saw. So for instance, when you deploy an application the traditional way, one of the things that you do is you are going to run tests and you are going to gather data from the application that you just deployed. for example, in the staging environment, etc. And afterwards, you decide if you want to go ahead and deploy the application to a production environment or something. So being able to like deploy, get data, and then afterwards decide where you want to go or if you want to roll back. That's a very important topic. So how do guys do that when they are doing GitOps? So do they combine traditional CI/CD with GitOps? Do they have GitOps driving CI/CD? And is there such a thing? So you said that Dynatrace are doing SLO based deployments through GitOps solutions. Does that mean that they are able to plug in like a sort of hook where they say, okay, I have deployed with Argo, but now do all of those post deployment things. And if they work fine, if they don't, then do something else, still with the GitOps solution. Very long question, sorry, but
Yeah, yeah. Well,
but yeah,
I
basically, how do people combine GitOps and CI/CD?
so like
And
I saw a good presentation given actually by I did a co-presentation, but Hillary really from my co-host at GitOps Guide to the Galaxy, but also she was my co-presenter. She spent a much of her life as a QA engineer, right? And now she's an SRE here at Red Hat. And she did an amazing presentation about like pipelines and how pipelines are now, we think of pipelining as very linear, right? But the truth of the matter is that they're not very linear, right? So like they have the these edges, right, where and dependencies upon each other. And a lot of what I've been seeing with GitOps at least is that people are starting to put GitOps at the end of the pipeline, meaning like the CI system is still very much involved, right? It's still very much, and then I think that just comes from the traditional things that we have with Jenkins, right, or with CloudBees, or with I forget what the other Bamboo, right? Like you just have that traditional platform, more of a platform than like a CI system. Then they're just kind of just started putting the GitOps at the end, where they just the CI system still is very much the same, whether it's very linear or whether you're like doing 12 brand pipelines at once that all depend on each other. At the very end, it ends with a git commit or with a PR somewhere, and then the controller acts on it, right? So whether it's Argo or Flux, but I've spoken to a lot of Argo folks, and so that's kind of like where people right now, where I see them start. There's very few who are doing things like what Dynatrace is doing with Captain, right, with SLOs, where the information that you get, right, the feedback that you get from those build processes are the GitOps controller is more involved with those, right, where it's sitting kind of like in the middle, right? Like we do a build, and then the GitOps controller deploys to development, right? And then there's a hook that then triggers yet another pipeline, whether you're using Captain as the event bus or we're using like Argo events as the event bus, to trigger other pipelines. Very few people are doing that, but that's really where I see this heading, right? Where like the hook, where I think personally, things like Captain and Argo events is going to play a bigger part in GitOps workflows with respect to CI/CD, because we're going to need some sort of event bus to be able to and I'll let Andrew speak on it a little bit. But my final thought is that we have CI, which is a synchronous process, and GitOps is asynchronous, right? And like we need a way to like start mapping those together.
Yeah, exactly, and especially if if you want to do audit afterwards, and you want to reconcile. Oh, so this triggered the deployment of this application, but actually this pipeline run where we did all the tests, etc., is what defined what happened. And it's, I think, very important to be able to have a reconciliation between the two, so you're able to trace back what happened when you push your applications into different environments.
Christian,
What I'm seeing in a lot of organizations are that they're never going to change their pipelines. It's always going to be a CI tool that's going to go through X number of processes, through the regulations, you name it. What we're doing, as Christian mentioned, is just kind of adding on GitOps to the end of it to handle just the deployment side. So they can go ahead and take advantage of all the benefits of GitOps, but still comply with all the regulations in their existing processes.
right. And I was saying, Christian, Andrew, the sorry, the T-shirt of Jafar speak clearly. I think no, there's
Yes.
text on there and Hargo. So no, is the connection by the two words. And what Andrew says is very interesting. Also, the compliancy, the governance. You have to be compliant to some policies, some standards, the standardization, specification. So this is very interesting, and I'm wondering if that is in the kind of in the in the land of GitOps, of that is also something that should be outside GitOps. The governance, the governance, the security policy. It's a pure GitOps thing, or should be also outside.
So I say it's both. You're going to have policies that are going to be defined and applied via GitOps principles, but you're also going to have other reporting tooling that's going to be in there in addition to it.
Got it.
Yeah. And for KubeCon, I'm already thinking about Detroit, right? KubeCon Detroit, the GitOpsCon Detroit. I would like to see more of what regulatory, like some of some end users, like people working in like the healthcare system, right, or FSI, or some other who's highly regulated, just like how are they doing things, and things like policy as code, right? So like we have ACS Stack Rocks, right, that does a lot of that policy as code thing. We along with ACM, right? Like we have I want to see more of the just looking forward. I want to see more of that. I didn't see that too much, unless I missed a talk or two. I was running around all day, so I don't know if Andrew, if you saw any, but I didn't see many talks based on like regulatory things, right? Like things that are trying to do policy as code, right? Like the DevSecOps sort of
you're gonna see that a lot in probably the Cloud Security Con, maybe not GitOpsCon, but there was stuff over there, and I know there's the CNCF Security Working Group and Continuous Delivery Working Group that tackles a lot of those concerns. And if you've heard of a framework called SALSA, the Secure Supply, I forget the acronym right now. Yeah. It's really there to understand exactly how much provenance you're able to have throughout your entire build and deployment process. So you can attest all the steps that have been done.
I saw some talk about either I think someone, I forget his name, someone from Google did a talk about using GitOps and Open Policy Agent. That was I caught a little bit of that. That was actually really, really interesting. But other than that, yeah, I think Andrew's right. I think most of that is they have their own conference, right? Like some of the security guys. I would like to see some more of that policy stuff built into GitOps. And so for those who are slsa.dev. So I would like to see more of those, right? So like for those who are watching, if you're thinking about what to submit for the next CFP of GitOpsCon, right? Like I'm part of the CFP committee, so I'll be looking out for things like that. I would like to see more of that, because a lot of people came up to me and talked about security and policy as code and like how to implement those things. So I think that's going to kind of be something else that's going to be, as popularity grows, obviously, more people want to adopt it, and more people want to adopt it. They have different use cases, and I think a lot of the security stuff is going to start coming down.
So, folks, if you want your chance to be selected in the next GitOpsCon, please send. This is a recommendation from the people that are selecting the call for paper. So, security, policy, governance. That's interesting point. That's a good one. Thanks, Christian, for sharing it.
And so just regarding the SALSA thing, so it's like supply chain levels for software artifacts, which is basically how can we prove that whatever we have deployed is what was initially planned to be deployed. So you have some sort of assurance about, yes, this is the right artifact. It hasn't been tampered with. It's the right version, etc., etc. And so basically, depending on how many, so there's like a compliance level, and depending on how things are automated and how much audit you can audit proof you can provide, you are going to attain certain levels in that matrix or in that ladder.
And a couple tools out there that can help with that is a tool called Cosign, which allows you to sign your container images.
Sure.
Tecton Change, which allows you to sign all of your build tasks in Tecton, as well as in Toto as a framework for handling attestations. So 3 frameworks that you can look into around that.
And so the good thing is that we were speaking about like pipelines, GitOps, etc. And I think these things play pretty well with Tecton, and so with Tecton Cosign and having everything wired together allows you to sort of build that proof. So there's another topic which is so I can't remember the name now, but yeah, just one sec. And so just for info, Red Hat is working on the pattern to showcase basically how you can provide that and attain a certain level of salsa using those tools like Chains, Cosign, Tecton, GitOps, etc.
Yeah, that's cool. And while you find the link, Jafar, I wanted to talk about also the community, Christian and Andrew. I know you are part of a GitOps community. Andrew is active part of the Sigstore security community. So how is the community? Let's talk about the community role. How did you met this community? How people can join your communities and start contributing about it?
Yeah, so the Open GitOps, right? So the theme in the beginning, we had an opening from our co-chairs, right? Again, that's Dan Garfield, Scott Rigby, and Chris Short. To talk about, we talked about how where we started, where we are now, right? And then Chris Short did the closing of where we're going and how to get involved, right? And so a lot, first, it was really cool to see, like, I was going back and forth from different, we had two tracks, right? So I was kind of jumping back and forth, trying to catch as much as I can. One, it was cool to see that everyone included the principles as part of their presentation, right? So not everyone did it, but like enough did it to where I noticed. I'm like, that's pretty cool. So like, a lot of the work that we did, and having more involvement, more of these use cases, right? We have the principles, but the principles are versioned, right? And so as this evolves, as we get more use cases, we may need to tweak some words, right? We may need to, include weird, use cases that we never thought were possible. So I think that, going to, you put the link there, opengitops.dev, and getting involved with, if you can make a meeting, we have we meet twice a month, right? Sometimes we have people come and just present to us as like, hey, we did this cool thing, or hey, I'm having this trouble, like, trying to map, GitOps to my use case, right? And this is kind of what the trouble that I see. Sometimes it's just people just talking about like the troubles, and so also, if you can't make those meetings, I understand, like it's hard to find a time that works for the world, right? To meet, right? But we try our best to meet. It's if you can't do that, we do a lot of stuff asynchronously, right? So obviously everything's on GitHub, so you can find our GitHub pages. on OpenGitOps.dev, right? There's a Get Involved link there. So once you click Get Involved, there's all the information you need to get involved. What we're looking for is, to really grow this to where, we have, people and subgroups taking care of, different aspects, actually making it a vibrant community. A lot of this is a labor of love so far from the co-chairs and I and other people that are regularly involved, but it'd be nice to have like an actual community. We're looking for people to submit things like validated patterns. We're looking for white papers, right? We're looking for, more of the architect side of things, right? So like if you're not a coder, that's fine, right? If you're more of an architect that solved a particular problem, William Caban from the telco side, if you guys know, he's very heavily involved with like the architecting side of things and submitting things with respect to like architect, validated patterns, white papers. Best practices is another one that people ask about. Is, some people always coming up to me is like, what's the best practice? Do you guys have anything with best practices for X, right? And it's like, well, no, we don't. But if you submit something, we'll definitely take a look at it. Maybe you'll be the first one to submit something. So we really want people to get more involved with, with that side of things. So I know personally, I can always use the help with respect to like, eventing and, help with, the social media things. Right now, it's just kind of like me doing it when I can. But yeah, so it's the community is great from backgrounds, crazy backgrounds. So now we're just kind of looking for more people to submit some of those ideas, not just as a CFP, but also as the as a best practice, right, or a validated pattern, or something out there, right, like an architectural design.
So from the security side, like for Project SigStore, one of the biggest challenges is that most people didn't sign content until recently. The SolarWinds, the other supply chain vulnerabilities, that really, shine the light to, we need to understand the entire process of build to deployment and understanding where that came from. So having that provenance. So tools like Cosign have come up recently as, you start with number one, which is basically sign the container image. That is basically the bread and butter of any Kubernetes OpenShift environment. But we're going beyond that. We're going to other things, like we want to sign, NPM packages. There was a presentation in the community call yesterday for SigStore on Maven. There's now a Maven plugin for Cosign, so you can sign your jars as part of your Maven builds. And then being able to attest those, from publishing up content to Recore, the transparency logs, so that anyone can understand exactly where that came from, validate the signatures, and just seeing not only the adoption from the community, but just the space exploding. I mean, we're here at KubeCon, and security is probably one of the top 3 items out there.
Thanks for, I think this is very interesting because at the end, this is a community event. All the CloudNet community come into the venue and talk about all the open source project. That's great. Brainstorming, a great way to network and connect and create those community. That's why I was doing that question. But folks, it looks like GitOpsCon was really successful. I know that there are also other co-located events. There was, for instance, KNativeCon and other co-located event. There was OpenShift Commons also, where we talking about the architecture. Christian, they showed lots of architecture with OpenShift and also geo-replicated high availability. But what I wanted to talk about today, since we're at KubeCon, I like to talk about also on what is the Red Hat presence at KubeCon together with you. I'm putting the link in the chat. Let me share in the screen. Well, this is the landing page from Red Hat. So if you like to know what is the Red Hat presence at KubeCon Europe 2022, you can go to this page and you see we'll have 2 keynote sessions. We'll have Connor Gorman and also we'll have Josh Berkus, which is another community champion here and KubeCon, joining the keynotes, and then we have some sessions, of course. We are proud sponsor of co-located event. So GitOpsCon, we talked about GitOpsCon, and I don't know why GitOps is highlighted, but I like it. So more emphasis on GitOps. As we were saying, GitOpsCon, it was successful. We heard about it. There was Christian there as a speaker, and also Andrew was there as a speaker. There was a Cloud Native Security Con and Knative Con. We're sponsored on those co-located events. We're supported also the Cloud Native Reject, which is the conference for people that has not been selected for the KubeCon, but they can do they can join this event. There was Service Mesh Con, of course. And today we kick off all together. That's the reason of this show. We're kicking off KubeCon happening in Valencia from today. We have some session about cryo, and for instance, we have a session about Helm. I know Andrew is very active in the Helm community as well. So in fact, I see Andrew talking, having this speech here. So Andrew, how many speeches you have at KubeCon?
I have two.
Okay.
Two total, which would be the one at GitOpsCon that we talked about earlier, and then the one that you just showed on the screen, which is the Helm maintainer talk, talking about the current initiatives of Helm, as well as where we see the project going, as well as getting folks involved if they want to contribute. Remember, everything is open source. We want to get the community to help us move the ball forward.
That's fantastic. As you see, you can be a speaker or multiple tracks, multiple events, or you can just join the community to brainstorm with the community. If you see here, there's other interesting talk you can sign up, which, for instance, serverless with KEDA, securing Kubernetes. Also, I'm noticing, Andrew, security is becoming more and more central to the talks, because there's this need of security. There's lots of automation, Christian, right now, or GitOps and infrastructure as a code. But hey, what about the security? We have also to control that. And I see this. So this is the list. You can see, of course, you can go through the day, today, tomorrow, and Friday. We close up with other talks. But also, I would like to talk about the booth. Christian, I know you will be at the booth, at the GitOps booth, and Red Hat booth. We have our presence. And can you folks talk about us, what we're gonna to do at booths, why people should join the Red Hat booth?
Well, so I'll be actually at two booths, like you said. I'll actually be at the Argo contributors booth. If you're into open source, because for those of you who haven't been to KubeCon, there's an open source section, right, with all the projects have kind of like their booths. I will be at the Argo one, actually in an hour, so I'll be there. So if you guys are on your way over there, swing by the booth. I'll talk about Argo project and GitOps. I'll also talk about Open GitOps. So if you guys want to talk about getting involved, either way with those two projects, I'll be there. At the Red Hat booth, I will be there all 3 days here at the booth during the afternoon, right? So around lunchtime until like early afternoon, I will actually be doing live demos at the Red Hat booth. So you should come by the Red Hat booth. Because I will be doing live demos, right? I have 3 demos that I'm going to do. I think you have one there. It's like, I think it's around 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Let's check. Yeah. Let's check the schedule.
You have one around 2. Pull requests. I know I'm the master of ceremonies for that one.
Yes, right. Yeah. So I have two demos there, right? Tomorrow I'll talk about GitOps repo structure. I have opinions about repo structure, right? I think it's always Conway's law with repo structure, but everyone keeps asking how to get started. So fine, I'll do one how I would do it, how I would get started at least. Sometimes it's easier just to kind of just follow the recipe. So I totally get it. So you'll see my opinion on repo structure. And then I will do testing pull requests with GitOps, right? This is going to be a challenge because I only have 5 minutes. And so I will have another espresso before the
but it's all automated, Christian. You just press a button and it goes, right?
It's exactly right. So that 5 minutes should be more than enough. So stop by the booth. I'll be there in the afternoon, and I'll also be doing after work in the booth, I will do demos there. So come by the booth, say hi, right? I'll talk about anything GitOps, anything Kubernetes, right? If you're talking about like Java or Quarkus, I may point you to Daniel O, who will be there as well. But other than that, yeah, come say hi. I love talking to end users. I love, Andrew knows this. Andy also loves, geeking out with others. So yeah, come by. I'll be there.
Yeah, that's the way. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for networking. You should definitely go to the booth and say hi and connect, because this is how community grow. No, how you make the community, how do you make the connection? Just a quick question, Christian. There's also here application sets.
Oh yes, yeah. The applications. That's mine. Application sets for everything. I'm a Red Hat. So fun fact. So application sets is a part of Argo CD now. It's like part of Argo. So you install Argo CD. It's upstream. It's part of the core. If you're using application sets, you're using the hard work of the Red Hat engineering. Red Hat engineering came up with application sets and donated it to the Argo project, Argo CD. So now that's part of it. So I'm a big proponent, obviously, for application sets to, like Andrew said, everything's automated. You can even automate the automation. So stop by. I'll show you how to do that with application sets.
Awesome. Jafar, it looks like we're missing lots of stuff being not being there in Valencia. Here, look at this schedule. Wow. So, yeah, we can join virtually, and everyone can join virtually the conference. But you, man, to be there, wow. Look at the schedule.
Yeah, that's amazing. I actually have a virtual access, so I'm gonna try to see some of those stuff, and we also have a virtual booth for
yes,
the path to GitOps that I will be also moderating with our GitOps product manager and someone from engineering. So yes, if you want to join us for a friendly conversation, please feel free to log in to the virtual booth, and we'll be there.
Fantastic. We have also the virtual booth. Thanks, Jafar, for reminding. If you would like to hear more about GitOps with Jafar and Siamak, our PM, please join today, 1:30 p.m. And also, if you would like to hear about StackRox or Podman, another popular, and for Christian, Andrew, I'm seeing Podman getting more and more popular because it's now it's matured. What do you think about?
So what's great about Podman, I saw something yesterday. I haven't gotten a chance to read it, so so I can't give you a lot of information about it. So you guys have to search it. That the Podman now runs on FreeBSD. So I like the having the maturity of Podman and the open source, right? So like Red Hat, obviously Podman is started by Red Hat, but it's an open source project. It's people been running it on Debian, right? I've been running it on now you can run it on like Mac OS, right? There's Podman Machine that you can run, Podman Desktop, right? That you can run on either your M1 or your Intel Mac. Now it's on FreeBSD as well, so that's kind of crazy. It's on Windows, and so now it's great to be see it in its development, right? Give all my complaints / feedback, and then like see it grow. Like, oh, okay, we'll do that improvement. Even we've all been around open source for a long time, but it still kind of blows my mind where I can like give feedback and then it becomes a feature, or they fix something because I gave feedback. And I like the fact that with Podman, like I don't even have to think about the runtime anymore, right? Before is everything was like all about building containers using that originally it was just Docker that you can use, right? And so now with with a container runtime interface, right? Like it's kind of like, okay, like now you can have like a generic way to to build containers, and you don't have to really think about the runtime, right? So like I build something with Podman, I can run it on Docker Swarm, right? Like I can, or I can build something on Docker and run it on Podman. It's it's nice to be like not be able to have to think about the runtime, right? With Podman. So there's been a lot of the one that caught me off guard was the BSD one. I'm like, okay, well now I have to install BSD and test it out.
Oh wow!
Because I'm just curious. I'm like, oh okay, I want to see if I can build something on BSD.
I'm curious about Mac and Windows with Podman. I guess with Windows maybe it's the WSL too, probably.
I don't know. Actually, I think it works. Actually, no. So Podman desktop actually works like Docker desktop, right? And so
okay.
It's
a virtual
similar,
machine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's similar functionality. It's basically a virtual machine that is abstracted from you. And you're running your containers, and it kind of looks and feels like you're running it locally, but you're running it through sockets to the virtual machine. So yeah, so you can run it on WSL. I've ran it on WSL before, but now it's like Podman desktop. It's like, think of Docker desktop, right? It's like the same thing. So you have a way to manage Podman, right? Like the same way as you would Docker, right? So that's the
great.
idea.
Yeah, that's great news for developers, no?
User experience is important, right? So like they want to have that same experience. They want to have that same, you want to be able to do alias Docker equals Podman and just or Podman equals, like you want to be able to do the alias and just like forget about it.
Right. So we have seen lots of good stuff happening today. So KubeCon starts at 10 a.m. The keynote is going to start right now. Andrew is already ready to
ready to go.
Look at it.
He's ready there, man on the street.
Ready. Fantastic. That's really journalism,
Journalism, yeah, that's right.
I guess I have another career aside from being a tech guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So
yeah, or you can combine both.
Yeah, journalist and IT. Why not?
Yeah.
So KubeCon is starting really soon. I wanted also to ask you folks, what about the? I know KubeCon is also fun for parties. Is there any party you're gonna be there for something? Is there any fun?
I don't know about you, Andrew. I got invited to 10 things, so I need to figure out what I'm gonna do. I don't know, Andrew. I don't know what you've. There's like always stuff going on.
There's always stuff going on, and there was actually an event yesterday with you mentioned the large Red Hat presence here at KubeCon. We had a whole bunch of us get together. We had a great time. It's really but with the pandemic, a lot of us haven't seen each other, especially those like myself from the U.S. coming over to EMEA. We haven't seen people in 2 years. So this is probably the first real big event that people can go to versus LA. It was people were but this is really, especially those in Europe, this is one where a lot of people are really making a presence.
Yeah, that's great. It's I know Harnest had a happy hour. AWS is having something. There's like Andrew said, there's a ton of Red Hatters. Like we do things ad hoc, right? Like it's still Red Hat's still Red Hat. I know a lot of people have been say that because of the IBM thing, but like it's still right. Like we kind of just do things ad hoc. We're like, hey, let's go here. Fine, yeah, let's all meet, and like 60 people show up, and so which I think kind of scares a little the restaurants here in Europe when like a large party like that shows up. Where in the US we're used to like showing up in large
table for 200.
Yeah, table for 200. Oh, okay, sure. Like they'll let us take over a bar, but here you see the eyes open up at at these.
What?
Because they're like, yeah, no, we have everyone's here. So it's always fun. It's always fun here. I do. Everyone says FOMO, right? So fear of missing out on Twitter, right? Like, oh, I have FOMO because I see everyone posting, and it's like, it's real. Like if it's, here there's always at KubeCon the whole week with the day 0 events, with the contributor summit, with KubeCon itself, with the events, like, there's events around KubeCon, right? Like there's always something to do. And at a place here like Valencia, it's great. It helps I speak the language too. Everyone's having me be an interpreter there. So if we're ever in France, Jafar, I'm gonna stick to you as well. So
Definitely.
or in Italy, well, I'll stick to you, Natali.
Yeah,
Keep your
of
friends
course.
close. Keep your friends close.
That's right. That's right.
Folks, you have to come back to Europe as soon as possible. It's great to have you here. I'm looking forward to meet you finally again in person. I think we met last time at some tech exchange or
Tech Exchange. Red Hat Tech Exchange was what last time, which was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
It's a long time, yeah. You were still an SA, right? Like, so
right.
we were both. We were both. I think
we were both SA.
Yeah, I think we're still both SA. Yeah. So, anyways, back when we were younger.
Yeah. When we were younger.
And so the funny thing with Christian is that I think we had our kickoff meeting since I had recently joined his team. We were in the same team, and we had our yearly kickoff. And then, like few months ago, or even weeks afterwards, the pandemic kicked off, and then we never saw each other
again. Yeah, we saw once. Once.
So it's been like, more than 2 years, and of course we were supposed to meet much more than that, but it feels like we've known each other very well thanks to modern stuff like
thanks to technology,
all the video conferencing we do and stuff like that. So
thanks OpenShift TV for connecting us worldwide.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I told Natale, like, I actually need to get going because of the because my hotel's far away from the event, so I actually have to take a cab. And so I do want to bring up one more thing. I guess I'm always busy with events. ArgoCon is I'll put that in the chat here.
Yep.
The CFPs are still open. They're going to be open for another couple of weeks. ArgoCon. ArgoCon is going to be a hybrid event. So if you can't make it in person, don't panic. We're going to hey, there's Daniel O. Hey, there we go.
Hey,
Daniel O. And Diane. And we got Diane as well. Diane.
Guys.
So this is
fantastic.
Diane Mueller and Daniel O.
Yeah, Daniel O.
KubeCon.
We're escaping the keynote.
Yeah.
Heading
There
to the
you
booth.
go. Awesome.
All right. They're heading to the booth.
Fantastic.
So that's right. See, there you go. Live journalism, right? I love it. I love it. That's
fantastic.
That's fantastic. So So anyways, ArgoCon will be in the Bay Area. And so, but if you can't make it in person, it's going to be virtual, right? It's going to be completely hybrid. I'm also planning in the planning committee there. So please submit all your Argo talks, right? So not just Argo CD, but like if you're doing something with rollouts, if you're doing something with events, workflows, right? Like any Argo project tool set. CFPs are still open. So whether you want to do a virtual one or you're going to be there in person, right? I'll be there in person. I'm trying to get Natali to get out.
I hope so.
Bay Area.
I hope so. It's because the venue, Christian, is the Computer History Museum, no?
It's Computer History Museum in Mountain View. So, so if you're going to be in the Bay Area anyway, might as well come on down. It's going to have, it's a 3-day event, right? It's going to have a day 0, the actual event, and then there's going to be some day 2 stuff, post-event workshops and things that we're going to do. So anyways. Out there,
also,
CFP is open.
Also important for those, since we are here at KubeCon and CNCF, the CFPs for CNCF KubeCon the fall in Detroit close next Sunday. Surprisingly. So if you are in the interest to get out to KubeCon, get those CFPs in. Currently next Sunday, the 29th.
There you go.
Thanks for the reminder, Andrew. So please send your CFP to ArgoCon and KubeCon because it's closing very soon. It's an opportunity to be there and join this community. Very, very, very cool. So Christian, before you leave, I'd like to make a little reminder that people that are interested on GitOps and all topic can go to developer.com. We have a topic page, and Christian is writing a book about GitOps. He's gonna publish it very soon. So if you go to the website, you can download the book. We will announce it, of course, but please stay tuned on developersredhat.com for all GitOps and all Cloud Native. So I really thank you, Christian, for and Andrew to be with us today. It was really, really fun.
You know, it was great. I like Andrew's man on the street. I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
have. I might have to incorporate something like that for my stream. Like it's really cool to have, you know, to see him like go into the venue and then like meet people like live.
Meeting people, yeah.
Yeah.
We should do, you know.
Well, I wanted to make sure it wasn't a virtual background. I mean, this is actually real people, 3D, I swear.
Yeah. And hopefully we don't see people coming out running off the room, the conference rooms and stuff like that. Like
yeah, exactly.
And then you'll be covering like real.
Yeah, exactly, with the microphone. What do you think?
So thank you very much.
And
thank you, Christian.
Go spread the word.
Yeah, awesome.
Spread the word. If you want to meet Christian, go to the booth, Red Hat booth, for all the awesome demos. You're gonna meet also Andrew. Now we're gonna close up the episode with all the appointment, Jafar. We have also today, this week is KubeCon, but we have also some of the appointment for the show and OpenShift TV. We will come back next week again here in the OpenShift Coffee Break. In the schedule, what we have now is another episode where we talk about the Red Hat Hackfest Office Hour. So we will have on a monthly base. We have the Red Hat Hackfest talking about Red Hat Edge technology, of course, Podman and OpenShift. We will have we will have them on the show next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Jafar, we come back to 10 a.m. I don't know if today, Jafar, there are other OpenShift TV shows because of KubeCon.
So there's the Level Up hour, same time, where we will be speaking about Rail 9. So I won't be there because I'll be covering KubeCon stuff. But yeah, please feel free, guys, to join on the OpenShift TV stream. And of course, check the schedule. There's a lot of stuff happening.
Fantastic. A final reminder, if you like to try Kubernetes yourself for free, please go to the developer sandbox for OpenShift. You have a free OpenShift multi-tenant cluster where you can try to deploy your applications and try Kubernetes for free on the cloud with a Red Hat OpenShift developer sandbox. Thank you, everyone. Have fun in Valencia, as Alos Dax saying. Buchentuf Kamal saying nice t-shirts. So he likes the t-shirt. I think Jafar one is really nice. And also, Christian, you show the open GitOps one. Oh, that's really cool. So thank you, everyone, for joining today. Please stay connected. Today we'll have KubeCon and virtual booths and all kind of stuff. Stay tuned and see you next Wednesday. Ciao.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Take care, everyone.